Great Scott, we've done it. Welcome to RevKev RC. This is RevKev. I'm coming at you from the future. The reason for this, filming this a couple days later because I decided to go in front of the video before the other video and then spice in with the other video. You'll see. It's ridiculous. I am what I am. I was able to go back and watch the footage of how fast this thing went on 3S, 4S, and 6S in first and second gear for all three batteries. And here it is. Later in this video, I'm going to talk about kind of how you're supposed to see it. Maybe you will see it that way. I don't know. It's going to be going fast though. But here are the numbers. And I think they're pretty impressive. And kind of predictable. When you'll see. So if you remember way back when I did the initial run out at on the trail, not Slick Rock, the one before that, I said that first gear on the 4S got about 5 or 6 miles an hour, and second gear on 4S got about 12. So keeping that in mind, 3S got us 9 miles an hour at first gear, 16 at second, 12 miles an hour in first gear. So we basically doubled our speed on the same number of cells with the new system in here, which I'm going to talk about more later in this video. And then we got all the way up to 22 miles an hour in second gear on 4S. And then here's where things are getting kind of ridiculous for something this big and heavy and frankly dangerous and terrifying. It's a maniac. 18 miles an hour in first gear for a crawler that will still crawl almost imperceivably slow. That's how slow you can make this thing crawl with this system. And then 32 freaking miles an hour on 6S. So I have to tell you, it's a success. This worked out really well. I'm very, very happy with it. Later in this video, after I show you some of the running clips, I'll talk more about what's in it, give you a little bit closer look, some of the issues I had with it, which were mostly created in my head. Yeah, go figure. Like most things in life, right? But I'll take it apart and then show you kind of what everything looks like and how I did it. There's just not a lot to it, so I didn't bother doing it on film. Plus, I knew it was going to take me a while, and I didn't want to make the video super duper long. But anyway, I'll be cutting out a whole bunch of stuff and trying to make it look cool for you guys, and I hope you like it. So stick around because here it comes. In the words of the late, great Chris Farley, holy shnikes. Boy, have I got some stuff to tell you about that. Okay. Whew, where did we leave off? Hopefully, if I did my editing correctly, you'll have saw some of the juice this thing can put out. Now, what you should have seen, and of course, I'll know because I'm going to make sure before I upload this, The first one, the first part of the street footage is 3S, first gear and second gear. I don't know if I actually got first gear. First gear was, it was about 8 miles an hour. Second gear, this is top of my head. I think second gear was like 12 or 15 on 3S. I think. I'll make sure. We'll see it. But where it gets really interesting is 4S and 6S. Holy cow. You saw the clips at the beginning of this video. Hopefully, if I can't get it straight, I'm going to have to edit the crap out of this or make a whole new video. But it was 3S, 4S, and then 6S. Obviously, 6S, because this system here, which, I got the boxes right here. This is the combo I told you I was going to put into it, right? Our Hobby Wing Easy Run brushless with FOC. This is a 2000 kV R3 with an Axe ESC. So that's our motor, and it's the Axe speed controller. This thing, crazy good. I'm going to show you what this thing can do and how I programmed it on the Dumbo DDF 350 and options that you can choose if you don't want to do what I did, because you don't have to. Hobby Wing gives you a lot of options. And then, of course, the motor. I don't know. One of these is the Star. You need both of them to be pretty good to get what I got. So 6S. This is probably a 40 plus pound 6 scale crawler that did 32 miles an hour on 6S in second gear, which is banana sandwich. That's crazy. Why never on the planet could you need a crawler to go that fast? And not even for, not even for like wheel speed for mudding. It's fast. It's actually kind of terrifying if I'm being honest. Which, exhilarating, but terrifying. I was going to show you the build process, but to be honest with you, it took me like 4 hours because I was slow and methodical, and trying to figure out how things wired up, because one ESC got 86th, and then we bring in, now we only have one ESC, and then the thing's got splitters everywhere. But I'm going to show you that, and actually, now that I've done it, there's no magical mystery wizardry there on our end of things. We just got to do what it tells you to do. It tells you where things get plugged in, basically. So let me give you a quick demo. You saw how fast it was. As a matter of fact, I'm a little bit afraid to tell you the truth. It's on right now. It's on. I'm going to unlock the diffs and show you what 6S first gear looks like on the bench. Oof. I got it on some boxes here. Boy, I hope it doesn't come off and rocket off into the wild blue yonder. Yep. That's psychotic. Legit. Okay. I think that got me like 18 miles an hour in first gear. Here's second gear. This is what gets you 32 miles an hour for this giant RC. Tires expanding, blowing my workbench papers around. Good golly. All right, the reason it's important for me to show you this is to show you this. It will still, on 6S, still go this slow. You can see the tires. It'll still go this slow. First gear. Doesn't it sound like a diesel? I'm going to lock the diffs because this slow, the ones over there are the ones that want to turn for whatever reason. So I'm going to lock the diffs so you can see on this side. You still get that slow. I could probably go slower. Let me discipline my finger a little bit. There it is. That's probably as slow as you're going to get. And to do this, I'm kind of just pressing this way a little bit to create some friction in here to make this less easy to pull. Let's see, what does that look like? That looks like when we get activation, 12% on channel 2. Phenomenal. It's actually kind of funny because if you put it in the neutral space that I programmed in here and you put it on cruise control, it sounds like it's a diesel that's idling. It's funny. Yeah. Hilarious. Yeah, so this thing is honestly, it's kind of everything I wanted it to be, but probably a little more terrifying than I think I maybe bargained for. I do not see myself running this on 6S. Probably. It's just kind of unnecessary. It's too much, and it's a little bit stressful. Maybe it would be better in the dirt when I get it out there, but on high traction surfaces, though I was able to keep it straight, and as big and top heavy as this thing is, with no gyro, it'll go straight. You can pull the trigger and she's good to go. They've done a great job with the high speed stability angles and whatnot for this thing. So this is actually really impressive in that regard. I'll probably not run it on a trail at 6S because it's just kind of bonkers. It's banana sandwich. I don't know if it makes any sense at all, but you can, and it'll still crawl slow. So that's pretty amazing. Okay, let me reposition things and show you what. Well, I guess you can't really see much if I do that. I should probably take things apart so you can actually see it. Yeah, let me do that. Okay, get her all apart. Not much to it. 6 screws, 2, 4, 6, with our trusty Speedy Boy here. Okay, here's your motor. Fits in there really nicely. What I needed was just an adapter plate to give me holes that lined up in the back of here. This all fits extremely easily, and there's just not a whole lot of thought that needs to go into it, with the exception of how you clock the motor over. There's, like right here, there's a ton of room where those fake fans are. So if you had the wire sticking all the way up like I basically did, there's no consequence to that. But if you decide to run something like this in a flatter assembly, the flatter body, you need to consider how you clock this motor over. And you can do it any orientation in here within the threaded hole limits. So just understand, if you're going to do this on this truck, this doesn't matter. There's a lot of room down here. There's plenty of room over here. And there's plenty of room over here. So put it wherever you want to. This is just what I chose. And I got them zip tied down to themselves around the motor can. This doesn't get that hot, and these are coated with heat resistant outer coating anyway, so we're not worried about that. I just didn't want them flapping around for hard tumbles and crashes and things, although they would probably be fine. I'm a little bit overcautious. The ESC is down here. There used to be two. There's a lot of room in here, so you could stick something else down there, but anyway, it has its own fan. It is just barely clearing this bundle of wires. There are a lot of wires in here, and on that, this 10-channel receiver is I've used all the channels, not because there's something plugged into all the channels, but because two of the channels have digital assignments that are not physical plugs. And so I can't plug something into those channels that I want to be able to control on the remote. I could plug something into those channels if it were just a simple power and ground. Like if I had a light that I wanted to be on all the time when the truck has power, and it would receive the voltage that this takes, the receiver takes in from the ESC, then you could plug something in and still maintain the control of the digital command thing in the DDF 350. Now, to simply tell you what that is just the auxiliary wire for the speed controller. Channel 9 I have programmed to do drag brake rate, as in how quickly the drag brake gets to the highest level that you have set it to, right? Yeah, this is probably too far. Yeah. So channel 8 is a physical plug that is down here. This goes to channel 8 in here. It labels channel 5 because the original channel it was plugged into on the stock radio was channel 5. But I chose to plug it into channel 8 because that's where I wanted it plugged in. It's not really relevant, but 10 is a digital command channel. It turns on cruise control. So it's one of those that I can't plug a physical smart circuit into. I can only plug in a power and ground. So nothing that actually receives a command on the truck to do something that isn't a function that's an auxiliary thing like cruise control or one of the special features that are part of the Hobbywing system, as in channel 9, which is actually plugged into, it's its own signal wire that delegates the drag brake rate. I'll show you that real quick. Might as well turn it on. And you can't see it on here. It's not listed here, but it's up here. So I can see, if you look right there where it says 9, it's moving. I have pre-programmed that to be 25%, 50%, 75%, and 100%. So you can change that on the fly with this button. So that will determine how fast the system engages full drag brake, which is super useful. I might change that though, because I've found that being able to adjust the drag brake hold with this knob right now, if I put it right there, it's at like 100%. If I put it down here, it's at 0%. On all the way over here, as obviously Hobbywing does 200% on their drag brake. That's how I programmed it when I did the programming on the ESC through my phone, because it's Bluetooth. So what I don't know is, does this override the Hobbywing's programming because I've told the auxiliary function that this is how I control the drag brake? Which is to say, if I told the the ESC, when I set this thing up via the app, that drag brake max was 100%. Does that mean that this is only going to give me 100%, or does it override it and give me that 200% option that is built into the ESC? I don't know that, but what I can tell you is the drag brake works really, really well. And being able to adjust the rate at which, not the rate, the hold at which the drag brake stops the truck from moving, right, is basically as good as having this function. This one is almost unnecessary. What I am tempted to do and can do is program that to be running mode options. So I can make this have forward and straight to reverse, or forward brake reverse, or forward no reverse with brakes. So you can have like a race mode, a regular basher mode, and a crawler mode with this button if you choose to. So because this update gives these single press buttons, like not the 3-position or the dual rate, I can have these buttons run 2-position, 3-position, or 4-position. So I have programmed channel 9 to be a 4-position switch, giving me 25, 50, 75, and 100 on your drag brake rate. Now, if I were to change this button to the different modes, forward reverse, forward brake, reverse, I could simply change that to a 3-position switch in here. Though Hobbywing's program brain in there might know that any subsequent press of this button will give me the next option, and I don't have to actually program that to do anything except for advance. You get what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm going to try it out, but it actually is very easy. And just to show you, if you get something like this, or you even get this system and put it in something else, all you have to do is go into here under your general menu, and I'm going to skip to the end because press the wrong button. And let's see, one more. Channel 9, 4-speed. So that's what I've done there. And then just to show you the trim, channel 9, 25, 50, 75, and 100. Oh, I just noticed that's -50. That should be, no wonder it jumps around. Look what I learned. I was in a rush the other day. That needs to be +50. Because I noticed when I was clicking through and looking at the indicator, I'm going the wrong way. I am, as usual. Going down to advance it doesn't sit right with me. When I was looking at that little clock-looking indicator on the home screen, and it was jumping everywhere, I was like, why is it doing that? Which also makes sense to why my drag brake rate didn't seem predictable, because I didn't have it set up correctly. See, I get to fix a problem while trying to teach you guys. Isn't that fun? So yeah, drag brake rate, 25, 50, 75, and 100. Now, we go back here and we'll see that now it's going to look normal. We're going to see that yeah, there is no negative setup on here, so we're only seeing like half of the full range of motion of that indicator, because we're not doing negative. Although maybe I don't know, 0 could be a value that is still a rate that functions in the truck to provide some rate, but I just assumed that, well, number one, I don't want 0. I'll probably never want 0, because that's just free rolling, and then your drag brake never comes on ever. That seems useless. In any case, that's how you do that if you want to use that auxiliary function. And then on the knob, I have like I said, drag brake hold. That's a dual rate knob, because I wanted to be able to dial that in with more options for the hold, because And the reason for that is like going down hills or going up hills, because your inclines and declines can vary. So to have the most precise ability to dial in your drag brake hold is preferable, instead of having to jump to something that's preset like on one of these buttons. So that's what I did there. I also put in a steel gear that I told you about. That was very easy. It's by a company called it's R Racing something. Where is my body at? Racing. Do you racing? Okay. The sticker was bigger than that, but I accidentally cut it when I was opening the package. It was that steel gear that replaces the nylon gear that came in the truck. And that bolted right in. It's just 3 screws. That all went in really nicely. It looks just like this. This is the original one. But there was 3 screws, one here, one here, and one here. And it's steel, and it was skeletonized. So never going to be as light as this nylon gear, but still pretty light. And this thing, to my delight, still sounds like a big monster diesel truck, sort of. So I didn't lose that cool character and how loud and kind of crazy this thing sounds, which I'm pretty happy about. Okay, this went in easy. That went in easy. All this was pretty good. Now all this jumble here, again, all the wires are labeled, so you just plug it in where on the end of the channel it says. So if it said channel 6, put it in channel 6. 4 is 4, 3 is 3. And then I didn't actually have to go in and adjust the trims at all. They were all right. Now, when I first put in 3 and 4S and ran it, of course I was like, this is crazy. This thing is fast. But it called really well. So I was like, all right, well, let's do 6S. So I put 6S in there, and my blinkers wouldn't work. None of my lights would come on. So this happened a couple times, and then I would put the 3S in there, and it was fine. And then I would put the 4S, and it was fine. And then today, when I came back, I got home from work and decided I need to go ahead and make this video. I put the 3S in there, it worked fine. I put the 4S in there, and it worked fine. I put the 6S in there, it was acting weird. So I said, well, okay, well, let me put the 4S back in there because it was working before, and it was still acting weird. Long story short, well, you know me, short story long. One of my plugs, which is this one right here, it's not relevant because this is a jumble to you. This one right here is on a splitter for my steering servo. And if the steering servo is not plugged into this, it's not getting feedback into the system and not getting the right information loop because blinkers, right? So that entire little doodad was not right because this was a little bit loose. I still had steering, but things were a little bit weird. So I got 6S in it right now. And just because I want to prove to myself that I'm right. Yeah. So we still got our turn signals. We got a reverse. And the reverse is pretty sensitive, and we still have our brake lights. So all you had to do, and let's see if I can even, I'm going to flip the truck around so you can see it better. Okay, when this thing was in a jumble of tangled wires and confusion, I let it overwhelm me a little bit. I spent a bunch of time on the internet looking at the PDF manual for this and studying this little diagram here, but it is actually incredibly simple. This one actually just routes under here and plugs in over here. This literally says the word servo next to it. If you guys can see that. Yeah, it says the word servo. So we know that our servo has to get plugged into the receiver and that says servo. So guess what we have to do? We have to split it at least once. So you're going to need at least one splitter for that. But if we look close, we see two sets of power, ground, and signal coming into that, which means you're going to need either a three-way splitter or another. When I say three-way, I mean splits off three ways from one. That'll get that done there. But I didn't have that, so I had to use another splitter. And then you look right here, it says ESC. And we got two sets of wires coming out. That means the exact same thing. So you're going to need some splitters for this. And that's what they did from the factory. Just they made their own splitters, and it wasn't obvious what I was looking at. Also, they ran one of these, I think one of these ESC wires to an external fan power. What are you doing? Focus. An external fan power instead of the ESC. So I'm assuming that that is just a power source that goes potentially to this light board over here. Though, to be quite honest, I don't actually know. And then this one right here says light. There you go, focus. Light mode. That one gets plugged into your receiver that's your on and off activation. So if you do this and you want to maintain all of your functionality, go ahead and order probably about 4 or 6 splitters, depending on the variety that you're going to get, whether they are one that turns into 3 or one that turns into 2. You're going to need those in order to make this work, because these have to be connected if you want your blinkers and your turn signals. Those are the same things. Your backup lights and your headlights to all function. What else? I guess the install, there wasn't a whole lot to it. Doing the mesh was extremely easy. I basically just did it like I would do a basher, because this thing is a big crawl basher now. And yeah, it's pretty crazy. When I put come on. This is the cover for the slipper nut. When I put that on, I'll show you that real quick too. That steel gear in there is right in there. Pop that off. That's the wrong one. When I put the slipper, or not the, well, yeah, the slipper on, I tightened it all the way down to as far as I could, and then I backed it off until I could grab the gear and I couldn't move it at all. So I backed it off, and then, I could move it a little bit, but it takes a whole lot of force. And I left it there, and I've been running this on the street. So I know it's got some slip, but what they do is they give you this 8mm that you can reach on the trail, because you can take the cover right off. If you find that you didn't get your slipper tension correct, just go in there with an 8mm. There is a shaft that sticks out on the back of here. You just stick a tool into, and it will lock the transmission in place while you adjust your slipper. So very easy to do. There's that steel gear. There's kind of not a lot to see here. It looks just like the other one, but it's hardened steel. Looking real good in there. See, what gear are we in? Neutral. Sweet. I did put some Reefs gear grease in there, though. Let's look at the pinion. Let's see if the pinion looks like it's got grease on it. Now, the motor plate adapter from AliExpress, they don't tell you this, and it's not in the photos, but it is the exact product that Cross RC sells. It comes with all the screws you need, and it comes with the block-off plate for the other side of here that you don't actually use. So let's see if we can get y'all down there. Yeah. So you can kind of see the red in there. That is the adapter plate kind of shining through there. Let's see, focus right there, you. Yeah. So that's my mesh. That's pretty much how I do all my mesh for anything. A little bit of a movement, a little bit of a jingle. Yeah, you can see the white residue here. That grease is basically all slung off. So I will likely not even reapply that because the speeds that this thing attains, I don't think any grease is going to stay on it, to be honest. And because they're hardened steel, it's probably not a big deal. They really did make this easy. If I hadn't put this gear in here and I already had the motor adapter, this install would have probably taken me an hour and a half, even with trying to figure out how the wiring works. One of the reasons why the wiring was a little bit hard is because it was like a week and a half or so since I had torn it down. So having to refigure out what things look like, that's a real thing. So as I said before, this is the stock pinion, still got the mark on it where I counted 17 tooth. And yeah, she's right as rain. This thing works exactly as I wanted. Still, I mean, I'm not going to call it quiet, but we got steel on steel. Yeah. This is going to be a fun truck. It's going to do crazy things. I'm probably going to break it going too fast. But another thing that I am going to do is that servo. Oh yeah, this is why I wanted to talk about it. This truck is not running the 8.4 volts that it can. This servo needs 8.4 to be a superstar. But in reading and trying to do my due diligence to not destroy these components and the other servos I don't actually care that much about because those are standard 10 scale servos and I got a bucket full of them I can replace. But these components here, I don't think they're rated to take 8.4. I think they're rated to take up to 7.4. So I've got a solution on the way that's going to make this thing bonkers strong. And we're going to find a new home for this one here. So yeah, money is not wasted with this guy. And when you see where it's going to go, I think you'll understand what I'm doing. And yeah, I'll tell you what, we got some pretty big things, and I say big in every sense of the word, planned on this channel. But yeah, it's gonna be a good time. I feel like I'm glossing over a lot of things. There's just not a whole lot to say about it. Plug everything back in where it was. I did not waterproof the receiver box just yet, not fully. I just kind of put everything back in there because I'm not entirely sure if I'm done getting in there and rooting around. Now, knowing that I was going to change the servo around, and this is kind of a trick that you can do, is use an extension for your servo. I know that my servo lead stops right up here. I can cut a couple of zip ties, unplug my servo, swap this out with 4, 5 screws right here for the new one, and we'll be in business. But yeah, that's why the servo wire is loose like this, and I have it like that. Yeah, there's just kind of really not a whole lot else to say about it. This was pretty straightforward with the exception of trying to figure out where these wires needed to be split off to. And 6S is bonkers. It is woefully unnecessary for a crawler. And I'll tell you this, I've seen plenty of people who have put these trucks on 2 Fusion 8s in here. And I think that is a mistake, because for the price of 1 Fusion 8, I got this combo, and it does more. It's Bluetooth, it's up to 6S, it's powerful, like extremely powerful. So if you get one of these, there's a guy out there who put it on 2 Fusion 8s, and it works, and it's pretty quick. But I would tell you, you're wasting your money, and you're losing functionality. So something to consider about it. If you have questions about this that I am forgetting to answer, there's going to be a few of you who are disappointed that I didn't actually show the build. Honestly, these parts showed up kind of out of the blue. I was expecting them in a couple of weeks. AliExpress sometimes surprises me. But yeah, and then I just had a Sunday, and I said, well, I got 5 hours. I'm going to try to get this thing done. And I did. And it worked out. But I think I'm going to call it there. I did want to give you the update. It is very fast, in my opinion. A crawler with straight axles at this weight and this size going 32 miles an hour is a lot. It's a lot. It's fast. Like, I have my Honcho SCX6. I run it on 4S with the stock system, and it does, like, I don't know, 18, maybe 15 at the most. It's not fast enough where I feel like I need to test it. This thing seemed way over the top. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I hope I didn't disappoint too many people too badly, but I do need to get this video out, because there are people who are trying to do what I have already done, and I gotta tell you first. So I'm not gonna name any names. If you're watching this video and you're one of them, you know who you are. But if you made it this far, I certainly appreciate you. And we're gonna do some dirt tests and, you know, some more high-speed stuff. Like, 6S is not banned from this. It's just not going to be what I run primarily for crawling. But I do want to see how cool it looks ripping through some dusty roads full speed on this 6S battery. So don't worry, that will happen. I am going to go ahead and add some more lights. I've already got a little scheme going here. And something pretty cool that Cross does is I'm going to integrate that function into the existing light controller. I need a couple more splitters because I used them all, but going to be some cool front lights and some rear lights. I do not have any more channels left to use to put rock lights on this that I can control. So that's probably not going to happen, but we'll live. Anyway, thanks for watching. And if you're not subscribed, I'd appreciate it if you would. And like, share, comment, do the things, you know, yeah. Hey, and we'll see you in the next video. Later.